Absolutely. Here you go. Thank you. You're very welcome. All right, so today we're going to be reviewing material that we've talked about this year and material that you saw in the 5th grade. This is going to be note number 4, so we make sure that goes in the correct order in our notes section. So make sure we number that number 4. We're reviewing percents. So in the first problem, guys, it gives you this model. All right, so a model is just a visual representation, like what we've been doing with our ratios. And this model, we want to write that as a ratio and a percent to represent the shaded part. All right, so can someone tell me how many boxes are shaded? How many boxes are shaded, Gabriella? Close. Double check. Make sure you count both lines, both bars.
14.
Kate?
23. There's 23.
Cameron? 24, right? Because remember, this whole line is 10, this whole line is 10, so that gives me 20. And then be careful, that's 21, 22, 23, and 24. Now, we got to be careful. So first, let's set up our ratio. So we have 24 boxes shaded. All right, and then my bottom number should be how many total boxes there were. How many total boxes were there? Cannon? 100. All right. So when it's saying write the ratio of the shaded part, is it saying the shaded part compared to the non-shaded? No, it just says the shaded. So we want our shaded compared to the complete amount. If it wanted you to compare the two different ones, it would have had to specify. Okay. So for our ratio, we get 24 over 100. Now, what is not acceptable about that? Why would I not want you to just leave it as 24 over 100 in that fraction? Brandon? It can be simplified. Donna, if it's a fraction, you better simplify it, please. So what number can I use to simplify this? What number can I use to simplify this? Faith? 2. We can divide these by 2. So let's put divided by 2, because we've got to be able to do it on the top and on the bottom, which gives me 12 over 50. All right, now 12 over 50. That looks a little bit better. All right, can I just leave it like that? All right, what could I use again? What could I do this time? Annabella?
Divided by 2.
Divided by 2 again, which means in the beginning, what could I have divided by?
4.
We could have divided by 4, but that's okay. Can I just divide by 2 multiple times?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So 12 divided by 2 is? 50 divided by 2 is?
25.
All right. 6 over 25 looks a lot better. Can I leave it like that? Okay, it is an even and an odd number, so that means I can't use 2.
You could use another number.
Could we use another number?
Yes.
3. So 3 will go into 6. Can 3 go into 25? No.
You could use, well, I know 4.
4 won't work because it's even, and we got an odd number here.
Evens and odd. They get into an even. I know 6. I know because it's an odd. I mean, unless you're gonna have. You can. All right, you can't, guys. When I give you that, like, are you sure? Look, we all question ourselves, but that's it. 6 and 25 won't work. Because look, if I go through, guys. Thank you. I know we're all like, ooh, up and bothered, because I made you think. Question yourselves. All right. But if I go all the way up to the number 6, all right. So 2 definitely won't work because of that 25 on the bottom, which means no even number is going to work. If 2 won't work, there's not another even number that can work. All right. Well, 3 will go into 6, but can 3 go into 25? No. Well, we just said even numbers won't work, so that eliminates 4. Can 5 go into 6? No. And then could 6 work? No, it's even, so that's not going to work. So that's it. This is it. 6 over 25. That is our ratio. All right, you'll notice I'm making sure to connect my ratio to that 6 over 25. All right? So the next part says to write a percent. Now, guys, when we do percents, so like on your test, I usually give you the percent of your grade. When I'm doing a percent, what is that actually out of points-wise? 100. So a percent is always measured out of 100, correct? Well, how many total boxes were there here? 100. So we really don't have to do anything special for this. We should be able to automatically look and count up and decide what is our percent. Can someone tell me what they think it would be here? What do you think my percent would be? Cole, what do you think? All right, so 6/25, that is my ratio. But remember, a percent is measured out of 100. Isn't that what we already had, 24 out of 100? So what is that percent going to be? Ava? 24%. All right, you just got to make sure we put the percent sign. All right, we've got to make sure we put the percent sign with it. So my ratio was 6/25. My percent is just 24% because there were 100 boxes. That was already done for me. Okay. All right. On the next one, it says model the percent and write it as a ratio. So if I'm modeling 36%, how many columns am I going to need to color? Blake?
36.
We're going to need to color 36 boxes, but how many columns would that be? How many complete columns? Gabrielle?
3 and then 6 in that one other column.
So we're going to color in 3 complete columns, and then we'll shade in 6 additional boxes. All right, so there's my 3. All right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and guys, when you're doing those 6, you could start at the bottom and count up, or you could do the top. So now I have my 3 columns and the 6. Is that a good model to represent 36%? Yeah, I think that'll work. All right. Now we've got to write it as a ratio. What would my ratio be to write that 36% out? Emily?
36.
Over, and what has to go on the bottom? 100. Very good. All right, and y'all know me with the fraction. Can we leave it as 36 over 100?
No.
All right, okay, so Kate's over here like, we can divide by 4, divide by 4. Okay, let's do that. Let's divide by 4. All right. 36 divided by 4 is? 9. And 100 divided by 4 is? 25. All right, 9 and 25, can I simplify that? Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes! Okay, good. 9 and 25, that's it. Now, guys, remember, y'all are allowed to use y'all's scientific calculators. If you wanted to, guys, you can type in the fraction 36 over 100 using that fraction button. When I push enter, it simplifies it for me. All right? If you don't have a scientific calculator, is this something that we can do on our own?
Yes.
Obviously, yes, we just did it. Okay, you don't have to have a calculator, guys. Don't let the calculator do everything for you. All right, you still got to be able to do it on your own. But it is a good tool to use maybe to check your work as you do your homework. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. All right, guys, this is review from stuff we've done in here. So, like the first 2, you did that in 5th grade, yes? Yeah, y'all did some of that in 5th grade, okay? But these next 2, we've actually already done this school year. All right, we're just kind of going back and talking about it. Because did y'all realize that percents are actually ratios? Because they're comparing your amount to 100. It's taking whatever it is. So, like here, we're going to take my 18%, 18 compared to 100. All right?
Yes. One down here that says 314, wouldn't that be going up to like 500 or
We're gonna get there. Let's start with just our 18%. How about that? Okay. Now remember when we were talking about percents as a fraction. Before I make it a fraction, guys, it's a lot easier if we'll make it a decimal because we've done decimals to fractions a lot, haven't we? All right. We've also talked about how your calculator also has that awesome button where it says D and then connects an arrow to the F for decimal to fraction. Now we're not going to do that right now. We're going to do this like the old-fashioned way with our brain because we have one. Let's use it. So for 18%, okay, what the phrase that we remembered was if we want to lose, keyword there, L, or lose the percent, what do I have to do to make it a decimal? If I want to lose L for lose the percent, what do I do to change it to a decimal? Cannon? Move the decimal twice to the left. So that means I've got to add in a decimal to that whole number at the end of it, and we're going to move it twice to the left. Once I've done that, my percent is gone now. I went to the left to lose the percent. See how we're doing that? Left, lose that percent. So what does that give me as my decimal? What does that give me as my decimal? Cole.
1800s.
1800ths or 0.18. 1800ths or 0.18. Now, did it tell me to make it a decimal? No, not here, down here. But right now we're trying to make it a fraction. Okay, well that's fine because we've talked a lot about how to make those decimals fractions. All right, so remember we take the number that's behind the decimal. What number is behind the decimal? 18. Okay. And we're going to put that on top. All right, what number goes on the bottom? What number goes on the bottom, Kernan? 100. Now, we had two ways to remember that. For one, when Cole read that decimal, he said it was 1800ths. So that's 18 over 100. The other way that we can remember that, how many numbers were after my decimal? 2. So how many zeros do I need in the denominator? 2, which forms the number 100. All right, now, can I leave it as 18 over 100? No, what do y'all want to divide by?
9.
All right, we can divide by 2. 18 divided by 2 is? 9. 18 divided by 2 is definitely 9, and 100 divided by 2 is 50. Okay, 9 and 50. 50 is a big number. Can I simplify it? No. Okay. All right. On the next one. Now this one is this is a much bigger percent compared to 18%, 314%. All right. We're still going to lose that percent. So which direction are we going? To the left. All right. So I'm going to add my decimal and go 2 places to the left. So now what does that give me as my decimal? Raise your hand and tell me, what does that give me as my decimal? Adriana.
3
Decimal.
3.14.
3.14 or 3 and 1400ths. That 3, is that a part of my piece that's left for the decimal portion? No, what does 3 actually represent? What does the 3 represent? What was that, Kate? The whole number, correct? So if 3 is a whole number, can 3 actually be located in the numerator or the denominator? If 3 is a whole number? No. Guys, check this out in our directions. As a fraction or a mixed number. Remember, a mixed number is a type of fraction where what do you have in front? A whole number. So where's my 3 got to go? Before the 14. So there's 3. And then I'm going to have my fraction next to it. Isn't it 3 and then my decimal? So does it kind of make sense that we would have 3 and then our fraction? Does that work for you guys? Okay. Just making sure. Just make sure it works for you. All right. So what number is going to be on the top? What's going on the top? Maya. 14. Excellent. Because that is what is actually behind the decimal. What number goes on the bottom? Brandon? 100. Because we got 2 numbers after the decimal, so we need 2 zeros. Also, 14 is in the hundredths location. All right? 14 and 100. We got to simplify. What are we going to use? 7 won't go into 100. All right, I like where your head is because we're thinking we need to get a 7, but what am I actually dividing by? 2. So we get 3, and then 14 divided by 2 is 7. So there's that 7. And then 100 divided by 2 is 50. All right, and 7 over 50. We'll not simplify. That's done. All right, now guys, on this last one, you'll notice it already has a decimal in it. It already has a decimal in it. So does that mean, oh, done, it's a decimal? No, because it still has a percent, right? I've still got to lose the percent. So which direction do I still have to go, Blake? To the left. So even though there's a decimal, it already gives me my starting point. Okay, so 1, 2. Oh, I got a gap. What do I do with that gap? What do I do with my gap, Cameron? Yeah, we're going to put a 0 in there. So that gives me what as my decimal here? What is my decimal going to be, Faith? All right, so we get 8 thousandths or 0.008. Okay, 8 thousandths or 0.008. All right, is there any whole number that we need to worry about? No, there's nothing in front, so we're good. So let's just draw our fraction. What's going to go on top of that fraction? Emily? I like where you're thinking. So after the decimal, we do see that 0. But in a fraction, those zeros aren't needed. They're needed to keep the 8 away from the decimal, but we don't need it in our fraction. Right? So what number do I need to go on top of my fraction? Gabriella? Just the 8. Right? Now those zeros were important because what's my number on the bottom going to be? What's going on the bottom? Caleb? 1,000. Because how many numbers were after the decimal? 1, 2, 3. So how many zeros do I have? 1, 2, 3. Making it 1,000, not 100. Okay. Can I leave it as 8 over 1,000? No. What can I divide those both by? Kernan? 8. Okay. So Kernan said 8 will work. Okay. If I typed in 1,000 divided by 8 and got like a funky decimal, I know that wouldn't be a good thing, and I'd have to pick a smaller number or pick a different number. All right, but 8 should work here. So 8 divided by 8 is 1. And look, I'm running out of space. Sorry. All right, and 1,000 divided by 8. So what do we get there, Kernan? 125. All right, guys. I probably wouldn't have picked 8. Just looking at that, I might have done like 4. Okay, I know 4 will go into 8, 4 will go into 1,000, and then I would have just had to divide again. Okay? Is it okay to have to divide more than once? Yes, just make sure every time. Can I go any smaller than a 1? No, so there's no way that'll simplify. Always double check before you circle your final answer. Okay, last questions. Write the percent as a decimal. Oh, we've already been doing that, guys. There, and there, and there. We made the decimals already, so this should be easy. To lose the percent, what do I have to do? Move 2 spots to the left. So if it doesn't have a decimal, we add 1 there at the end, and we go 2 to the left. So what do I get for that first one? 54% as a decimal is what? Ella? 0.54. Or 54 hundredths. Okay. 210%. As a decimal, what's it going to be, Emily? All right, I like that. So 2.10 or 2 1/10, because that's in the tenths place. So remember, guys, this 0 right here, do I need it in the decimal? No, because it's off at the end, so it can basically just kind of fall off. So the other way to write that would be 2.1. All right, and then my last one. I'm going to move that decimal over to the left. And what do we get for the last one? Lyric.
0 or
0.038 or 38 thousandths. Okay. Are there any questions about that?